again for joining us this afternoon. The title of our webinar today is How to Grow Your Business in Uncertain Times. Before we kick off, just a very brief introduction. My name is Andrew Walker, and together with my wife, Susanna, we're co-owners of Beacon Business Commercial Services. We're business consultants, and we help business owners to improve their profit, growth, and value of their business. So today's webinar is all about, as mentioned, how to grow your business in uncertain times. So uncertainty in itself can be a very scary word, not only for the obvious business implications, but also for the impact on our mental health and general well-being, something we've really experienced over the last 3 years since the kickoff of the COVID pandemic. Now, we are, as I mentioned, business owners, and we know it's far too easy to fall into the negativity trap. We established just over 18 months ago, so we're at that period of building our network, building our business from the ground up. So steering away from the fear trap is just so all important. During the course of the webinar, we're going to really focus in on a couple of things, and that's, risk versus uncertainty and how we can drive business forward during uncertain times. So, what is the difference? People talk about risk takers, and then they talk about the uncertainty of the economic world that we're working in at the moment. This sounds a little bit technical, but risk is essentially when the probabilities of possible outcomes are known. If you can imagine flipping a dice, or even say flipping a coin, it's either heads or tails. But in an uncertain world, in an uncertain economic environment, there's so much randomness of outcomes that you cannot be expressed in specific probabilities. It's so much more complex. So dealing with uncertainty, what is the key? Well, there's definitely one starting point, and it is absolutely focusing on what we control. Things you can control, primarily it's your mindset. Your thoughts will drive your attitude, and your actions will generate the results. So I think a lot of us are on the call today are business owners, and primarily you're setting the standards for your business. So the positive mindset focused on clear goals is so important. Now, I'll step through what I mean by that. On the screen in front of you, you'll see title areas of influence. In the middle, you'll see pyramid of business, as we call it. Now, when we work with business owners, new clients, we very much focus in getting an understanding of their overall business. And what we've seen in the last 18 months is a tendency for business owners to start off with an expertise in a specific area. It might be a service, it might be a specific product. When they get up and running, then they start to expand their business. They start to look at marketing. They start to look at bringing more people on board. More often than not, they start with a bookkeeper, somebody to get them in control of their expenses, their finances. But there's one area that quite often is missed, and it's surprising. It's the area at the top in the blue, the different shades of blue. There's a more strategic side of the business. A clear understanding by the business owner, what do they want to achieve with their business? What is their strategy to get them to that goal, to that vision? And then thinking about what structure they'll need to enable that growth towards the goal, and the type of culture they want within the business. And what we see, because in general, people are operating in this operational area, they get caught up in the day-to-day running of the business, and in many circumstances, get overwhelmed. And it's at that point they could do with the help of an external pair of eyes to really get them more refocused on the strategic area. And Susanna will touch on that later in the webinar. So those areas which are in control, strategy, the operations of your business, the culture, and the customer experience are so fundamentally important in great times, in good times, but most definitely in uncertain times. The areas on the left, I will read through to competition, technology, economy, and government. They are out of our control. However, yes, we do need to understand what's going on. We need to be aware so we can adjust our strategy, our plans, pricing, competitive activity whatever it might be. But primarily, what we can control and manage to the optimal level are those areas on the right-hand side of the slide. So now I'm going to hand over to Susanna, who's going to build on that concept of what you can control and step you through strategies to grow your business in uncertain times.
Hi there, and thank you very much for joining us today. So as Andrew mentioned, by focusing your efforts on things within our control, we will be better positioned to deal with the unpredictable. So we know it is possible to grow your business in uncertain times. As Andrew said, we started our business in April 2021. So we selected a number of strategies that we want to share with you. This is by no means all the things that you can do, but it is a kind of, we think, one of the basic ones that you can implement and build upon. So let's start with the first one. So it was, next slide, please. Charles Darwin said, it's not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one most responsive to change. So what that basically means is that the species that adapt quicker are the ones that have more chances to survive. So as a business owners, how do we adapt easily to change? One of the ways to do this is by keeping our business plan updated. Your business plan is your roadmap to go to where you are today, to where you want to be, so your business vision. Many businesses, if they have a business plan, they create it at the beginning of the business, and they keep it safely stored in a drawer or in the hard drive. And the reality is that the business plan should be a live document. It should be something that we review, update at least once a year, and definitely on a monthly basis, reviewing our results against what we thought we will be doing. Updating your business plan, it will allow you to understand what's working and what is not, so that you can reduce cost on the things that are unproductive for your business. You will also understand changes in the market, new competitors, new products, or new opportunities for the business. And having this updated business plan, it will help you to pivot, as many businesses have to do during the pandemic. So having an updated business plan, it will allow you the flexibility to adapt when things change all of a sudden. The next slide, I want to talk to you about the effective communication. So in uncertain time, effective communication will help you to maintain your business running smoothly. It is important to focus on both in internal and external communication. Internal communication will ensure that your team buys in and believes the future for your business. Internal communication will allow you to build a strong team. In times of uncertainty, your team needs a strong leader. And you, as the business leader, it is your job to talk to them and to balance transparency versus hope, but being realistic, but at the same time offering the hope with the vision of the future. Acknowledge that there are challenges. We all have challenges and things don't go as we plan. However, having this plan actually gives you the opportunity to say what it has changed. So acknowledge the challenges and present them with the strategies that are to address those challenges. It is also important that you lead with empathy, so to understand and that to understand your employees, and also that they know that they are valued, that they can contribute to improve those challenges. Check about their well-being, provide within your means training or tools that they need to do successfully their job, because overcoming this adversity will help you to build a more resilient team. And a more resilient team that has grown through the adversity will bond together closer, and that is good for you and for your business, definitely. External communication. So this is when you engage with your suppliers so that they understand what is the future of your business, which are the challenges that you have and how you are going to overcome, so that they can also adapt their business to your business objectives. Make sure that you're communicating with your customers, because in uncertain times, they need to know that you're there. You need to know that you're not going anywhere. They need to understand what is your value proposition, meaning that what it is that you do best and why it differentiates you from the competition, and understanding that the promise that you gave them, it will continue there. Or if you, for whatever circumstances, you need to change that promise, be clear and open about what have changed so that they are really know what's going on. People understand things. People what don't understand is when we go quiet or we suddenly change things without explaining. The next slide is still linked to the communication, because transparent communication is key to build trust and maintain good customer relationships. So identify who your core customers are and strengthen that relationship and the loyalty to your business. Understanding who your customers are is so important, because you need to understand why they buy from you, why, what it is that they value about your business. What do you do better than the competition? What can you improve? When you clearly pinpoint this, what the customers are valuing from your business, you will be able to create that in a message to attract more ideal customers. Knowing and understanding your customer is not only important for uncertainty times and for improve the return on investment of your marketing activities, but it is fundamental for the future of your business. There is a reason why everything that you think about marketing, it always starts with understanding who your customer is. So this is a very, very important, and as I said, it's not just for uncertain times, for the future of your business is also important. The next strategy, it is, I would say some of the less, people don't think it's too sexy, but we talk with business owners, and when they say that, oh no, my numbers, my accountant knows my numbers, we know that there is an issue there, because, and especially during uncertain time, more than ever, you need to understand your key financial numbers. Numbers like costs, your cash flow. Understand how the return that you are receiving for all your activities. In cost, for example, do you know the difference between fixed costs and variable costs? How can you find ways to reduce or eliminate some of the fixed costs? For example, that subscription of the membership that you probably don't read, do you need it? Or the daily coffee allowance, paying 3 or 4 quid when you arrive to the office with a coffee. So find ways to reduce the cost, the fixed cost, and at the same time, find ways to reduce the variable costs. Marketing and advertisement normally fits into variable costs. And one of the issues that we see, not only with the small businesses, with corporation as well, when you need to reduce expenses, the first thing that you look at, it is your marketing and advertisement expenditure. And unfortunately, when you go to that pot, you are directly affecting long-term strategies, because marketing is what it will bring you customers in the future. It will maintain you at top of mind of your customers, and you will discover new customers. So instead of cutting that, what you need to do is to analyze what is working. What is not working should be eliminated, and it actually, even if it's for a period of time. But you should continue focusing on the future as well as taking care of the today and now. Cash flow. So the difference between cash flow and profit, for example, is something that we know many customers don't really have it clear. How much money do you have in your bank? That is cash flow. And how the forecast of cash flow, it is how many days, months, weeks do I have to pay in money to pay my cost today. For example, ways to increase your cash flow, review your customer paying habits. So are there invoices that have not been paid? We know, for example, yesterday and before Christmas, there were a lot of reports in the UK media talking about the problems that there were with the debtors, so customers that are not paying their invoices. So check your books. Do you have many customers that are not paying? This is not about being hard with your customer, it's by understanding. When you understand your customer and know why they're not paying, First of all, they will know that you care about them, that they are not just a transaction. And second, you can actually forecast because you can make a plan when you will receive that money. Renegotiating with suppliers, for example, terms or prices or products if it's needed. If you have recurring businesses from your customers, one way to maintain the steady cash flow, it is to maintaining and exceeding their expectations. So the customers that are treated the best, they will continue buying from you, and you can count with that revenue stream coming over and over. So in the next slide, I'll talk about something a little bit different. It is about learn how to manage your time. So first of all, it's crucial that in an uncertain time, you know what you and your team are spending your time on to ensure that everyone is literally delivering growth and support your customer experience. As business owners, there are three main roles that we have to cover. We have many, but there are three that are the main ones. The entrepreneur, that it is the person who set up the business, that risk-taker individual that went through against the stream to actually put together this business. Then we have the employee, that is basically that same person that now is delivering that product or service. So, and you are making sure that your customers are happy, answering complaints, and so on. And then you have the leader or the manager, that this is independent if you have or not a team. This is when you actually are establishing which are the boundaries, identify processes, procedures, and making sure that things continue going well, that every customer have the same experience, and so on. Too many business owners get stuck on the employee role, that it is delivering the product or service, and they forget about the leader role, they forget about the entrepreneur. We normally talk to our customers about the importance of identifying the 80-20. So the 80-20 rule says that 20% of your efforts deliver 80% of your outcome. So in uncertain time, it is even more important to know what it is this 20% that is moving the needle, because you really have to have time to continue looking out and being on top of the things that you can control to implement them when needed. Because when things are uncertain, it is the moment that you as a business owner go back to the entrepreneur role, because this is when you will be looking for opportunities and see if you actually can grow. Is there anything that is happening that is actually going to be big? I remember we were sitting in the UK at that stage when the lockdown started. And I remember saying to Andrew, I'm so sure the economy was closed, everything was closed, and everything looked so dreadful. And I remember saying, do you know that at this same moment when we are all scared, there's someone who actually had found an opportunity on this, and they will become millionaires? So that's why it is so important that when there is uncertainty, we go back to this heart that is the entrepreneur, innovative person, as well as the leader manager. Because when you continue working on your business, how can things improve? How can I make more customers happy? Your team and your suppliers and your customer will be all so grateful that you are taking that step to help them too. And today we want to finish with the next strategy, that it is about building a strong network. And this is strong networks is important personally, and it's important for business. For those of you that come from the corporate world, you know that when the network, normally it is your company and the peers within the industry. If that company decides to do a restructure and your position becomes redundant, you're suddenly there on your own. The world of the business owners is the same. Actually, you many times feels very lonely, especially when the business is growing and you feel that you cannot start sharing everything with your team. And you don't have someone to discuss challenges, see different perspectives, or simply share a win. Other realities about networking, it says people do business with people they like and trust. Likes and follows in social media doesn't replace the social capital that you build when people know you and know the value that you can bring. Business don't come to us. We have to go for them. And people that doesn't know you and trust you will not refer you to another business. So if you either don't like networking or you consider yourself an introvert, focus on when you go to an event or when you are going in a situation that you see, okay, I really need to network, focus on the other person. So you don't have to be talking about yourself when you go to an event or something. Just start to go, address that person that also looks a little bit lost and lonely, and go and ask questions. Be curious. Doesn't need to be all about it could be about venues, your first time here. And from there, start the conversation. 3 useful questions that you can ask once you are starting that conversation. It could be, what can I do for you? Well, how can I help? I'm a business consultant, how can I help you? Or who do you know which has started the business? Do you know anyone that is in a similar situation that will be, or someone who passed this part of the journey already and wants to talk to you? Or if you were me, if you notice that someone that is quite experienced of being long enough in business, if you were me, what would you do? Those are kind of questions that will open up a different type of conversation. We know that networking has the organic part, that it is these people that we meet on regular basis. And finally, we know exactly who they are: family, friends, colleague, classmate, and so on. The other network, the one that you have to be more strategic and really pay attention, it unfortunately has to have happened faster. You don't have time to get over time to meet people. That's why questions like, what can I do for you? So what is the problem that you have? Who do you know who? Or if it were me, what would you do? Are perfect questions to open up a deeper conversation in a short period of time. So we'll pass to the next slide. Just reiterate, as Andrew mentioned at the beginning, is that to avoid being overwhelmed, acknowledge the things that are out of your control and focus on the ones that are in your control. And if we move to the last slide from my side, it says, we know that to grow a business, it is possible in uncertain times, regardless the form of uncertainty that this one that may take. These 6 strategies will help you to keep your focus productive and positive. All start with your mindset. Your thought will drive your attitude. Your attitude is where you bring your actions, and your actions generate the results. And the more consistent that you are, the result more consistent will become. So in terms of strategies that you can implement, it is having and using an updated business plan. Clearly communicate the plans to your team, customers, suppliers, and any stakeholder. Know your customers and keep them closer. Understand your numbers. Focus on preserving cash flow. Taking control of your time and the time of your team, and network. So with that, I finished my part of the presentation. So do you have questions at this moment? Andrew, do we receive any questions in the chat?
Just a couple that come through via the chat, so thank you for those. First one was, how do you track your most important numbers, your KPIs? Susanna, do you want to pick that one up?
Yeah, so what we use, so depending on the size of the business, we have a different template that we use, but we have a very simple one that is a weekly tracker for a business. And basically on those one, what we write down, it is one of the numbers, it is cash flow that you need to have on weekly basis. So, and it has an objective, and it has each week on the side. It is an Excel file, it's very simple. Then it could have, for example, if you are doing a lot of lead generations through social media, website, and so on, how many leads do you need to bring? How many conversion of those? How many of those leads become customers? If you think I'm here, I'm not talking about anything about impressions, likes, engagement. No, because as a small business owner and with the resources that we have, you can get lost in all that data, and that doesn't tell you how effective is your marketing? Your marketing has to generate leads, and that leads has to become customers. So other KPIs could be if you sell products, which type of products, how many do you have to sell a week, product packages, or a service offer, and so on. So if you are interested, I will send you an email with the Excel file. It's very simple. It is basically, you have the type of, the thing that you want to measure, the weekly target, and then each week on the side. And then you can review it. Just write down and sit down a couple of minutes on a Friday or the Monday to write down what did you achieve in the previous week. And that will also force you to allocate some time in the week to work on your business instead of in your business all the time.
Thank you. The other question that's come through, just can you give an example of how you implement the 80-20 rule? I think from our perspective, and Susanna touched on networking, and when we started the business, April 2021, we'd moved back to Ireland from living in the UK, so we're based in Ireland, and we were away one mission, which was to grow our network. Essentially, our network was a blank piece of paper, and we engaged at that time with a lot of online networking organizations or groups. And as we came out of COVID, we joined a lot of networks in the city that we're based. We spread ourselves quite thin, and we learned a lot during that period of time. So we took some time to reflect and identify where our ideal customer was, which network were they partaking in, which of the networks were more social rather than looking at generating business relationships and ultimately referrals. So we narrowed it down, and now we focus rather than on quite a number of networks, a small number where we're delivering results, delivering leads, and building effective relationships. So in a nutshell, it's really identifying, analyzing, and establishing where your results are coming from, and focusing on those activities driving results. One of the benefits, it does free you up more time to look at other areas of your business, or for those business owners overwhelmed by the business, hopefully give them back some free time. I hope that answers the question.
So I'm going to stop the recording.
Sorry.